Okay. So you're going to hear all that again. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to week 7 of our Power to Change Wellness Summit.
Our very last installment of this summit. We hope you've enjoyed this journey so far. If you've missed any of them, it's easy to click and rewatch all the videos so you can soak in all the knowledge. There'll be a link on how to do that wherever you're watching below.
Yes, you'll be able to go, it's either on YouTube or Facebook and on all the channels and just look back at some of the videos. Mm-hmm. But we're going to crack right into this. We're going to share, this is the Elixir of Youth.
How to turn back time. If I could turn back time.
We're going to share our 10 favorite ways of doing this in a way.
That's what we want, right?
I think so. What, to dance like Cyndi Lauper? Is that Cyndi Lauper?
No.
What?
I mean, I
Tina
don't know.
Turner.
It's Cher that sings.
Cher.
Just missing the G string.
Cher's turn back time.
She sure has.
It's a little surgery, I'm sure. Oh, we should have said without surgery, because you don't have to do surgery to turn back time.
No. All right.
Let's crack into number 1. It's not going to surprise you. Well, it might some of you.
Yeah. More than food, more than diet, more than exercise, more than all the things you think is what we're going to say is community.
Yes.
Like having a community that empowers you, that makes you feel good, that challenges you, that holds you to your highest. That is the number one thing. Feeling like you're a part of something, it goes back to when we were tribal. You know, if you weren't part of a tribe, you would die. Yeah. You know, the elements and nature was just too harsh. Yeah. And so we all have a natural instinct to want to belong, to be part of something. Now, in this day and age, everyone's like, I don't need anyone. You know, everyone thinks that they're,
what do they say?
Oh my God, yeah. Like totally fine on their own. Like
I'm in my box house, my box car. I'm all by my, like.
And dog eat dog, I'm going to like.
It's been celebrated to be independent and like a fierce independent woman or like a solitary man. But like that, you will die and get depressed.
Yeah, and
fast.
Steamroll anyone, you know, just to get to the top or just to get what you need. That's not how we're built from human nature.
That's right.
You know, just look at the pandemic when we were all separated and how much suffering that caused, how much death that caused, not just from, you know, what was happening, but the loneliness, the suicide, the depression, the anxiety, all the fear, that killed millions of people alone.
Yeah,
so just
the isolation drove people mad.
We're not meant to be separate. You know, I really truly believe that so many of those people that were put in hospitals, that were cut off from their family members, that weren't allowed to have touch, like so many of them would have died because of that, not because of the virus, right? So we need, you know, and there's these extraordinary studies they did, I think, I mean, I want to say back in the 30s or 40s, don't quote me on the time range there, but they did these radical tests with babies where they gave them everything they need. You know, they were born and they gave them all the food and the comfort, like, you know, and blankets and all the things that they would need, but nobody touched them. And every single one of those babies died. We need human touch.
Sounds awful.
I know. They did that. I know. It's like back in the day when things were different.
Must have been in the 30s or something.
Yeah, when human life was maybe not as, you know, valued in the same way. But yeah, so that just goes to, and you know, there's tests like with monkeys as well, where they had this cage with a metal monkey where it was
metal monkey.
Yeah, it was like a metal
cage.
Replica. Yeah, metal cage, but a metal monkey that was feeding them as if it was a
like
mom.
A robot.
No, it was just they would put food in there. Babe.
What's a metal monkey? I don't know.
They built it. So
okay.
It was like that
that
was their comfort, right? So there was this metal monkey in their metal cage that would give them all the food that they needed. And then in another cage, there was one that was all soft. It was just made out of rags. And it wasn't giving them the food they needed. But the monkeys that were in the cage with the rag were so much they did so much better than the ones, like the ones over there died because they need softness, they need nurture. And there was something about the rags of the metal monkey that made them feel comforted and
not
loved.
the metal monkey, the rag monkey.
The rag monkey, yeah. So even though they weren't getting the food that they needed, they had the comfort and the security in that way. And so that's human nature, right? We need that level of belonging, of community, of feeling like we're part of something bigger than ourselves. Which is why, church and religion is so powerful for people, because it's the people. It's like feeling like you're a part of something with a common belief, a common goal, right?
Yeah.
And whichever religion you're in.
Which is wild. During the pandemic, they cut off people's right to gather and get together as a community, which is unless you wanted to go protest, you could do that. There's so many things that boggled the mind. But what you said about having something bigger than yourself to wake up for, we're in this very self-centered, selfish time where everyone's like, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to take care of just me. And in doing so, you will develop some serious anxiety, depression. The more you focus on yourself, the more challenging the more of that depression and anxiety you get. When you have something like when you have kids, you have all this energy to wake up because you have to take care of them and feed them. And something much bigger than yourself to wake up for is your children.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a lot of parents on here who know exactly what I'm talking about. You could have had a really challenging night, but in the morning, those little faces, you're getting up for them.
I mean, and I have countless clients that have said to me, if it wasn't for my children, I don't know if I'd be alive. When people go through the dark night of the soul and they can't see a way out, but then they have these little people that depend on them, then that's really, the thing that has them get up and keep moving through life. And I think that's what's, especially in this day and age, that's what's missing a lot more. People don't feel part of something, part of a community. And so when we're not part of a community, that's when our health will start to decline more than anything else. You can live a perfect, clean lifestyle. You can exercise all the time. But if you don't have people that love you and care about you and show up for you, and connect with you, then you're not going to have the type of longevity. So, so really cultivating and creating that and putting the time in for your community and is the key to longevity, the number one thing. So figuring out how you have that community should be one of your top priorities. Yeah. Who do I want to be around? What do I want to create in my life? And, whether that's a gardening group or a hiking group or a prayer group or, a meditation group or a breathwork group or, a pottery group, whatever it is that you're like, wow, this really makes me feel like I'm part of something. That's what you need to focus your energy and attention on.
We actually have that. We have in both of our programs, we have a really powerful community that has helped people stay connected to the conversation. And you want to be in a conversation that's actually pulling you forward in your life, rather than people listening for you how you were in the past, or you show up around the people you spend time with, how they're, some people, when you're around a person and you feel really open and really funny and really creative, and it's almost like those people are expecting you to be that, so you're around them, you're just free and you're that, and you're playful. And what about how many of you have been around someone where you get there and none of your jokes land, you feel
stupid,
you tongue tie all your words, you just kind of they make you feel they make you feel dumb. And it's so interesting. The people that you surround yourself will definitely determine the quality of your life. So the quality of your community, who you surround yourself with, is probably one of the most important decisions you'll make. Look around you at who you're spending all your time with, and make sure that's the direction you want to go with your life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many people in our community that we've cultivated over the years.
Yeah.
And especially during the pandemic too, when people were going through some of the toughest times, they didn't have the same connection and communication with their family and friends that they did within this group. Because when you have a community that is all about sharing from a place of figuring out a solution, not from a place of being a victim, being able to share the really tough stuff and not having to hide it, talking about your health and your goals and your life. Like, how many people do you know, like, what are your dreams this year? What are you creating for yourself? Can I hold you accountable for that? Like, can I be your teammate and buddy in that?
Yes.
People just don't do that.
And are you listening to yourself too small? Are you playing small?
Or kicking your butt.
Do you have a friend that's like, play bigger?
Like, you're better than that. Stand on your power and do this. So many people are like, oh, okay. Everyone's all PC and nice. It's like, no, be a stand. Be a stand for people to be their greatest selves.
That's right.
And that's what our community does. So that's I think one of the most vital things of our groups is having this empowering, beautiful community. And so many of our people, they now travel the world together. They go and do fun things together when maybe they felt like their life was not going to go that way at all. Now they're like stepped into adventure and passion and love in a whole new way, and health, of course.
Yes. So that's community. We could talk about community for...
I know, that could be the whole thing.
But it is the biggest... it's the biggest lever to pull if you want to increase the health span and the length of your life, is find things you can get involved with, whether it's a volleyball group or a pottery community, something that gives you a reason to show up and be generous with you being there makes a difference for other people. And there's only one of you, and you being at this club or this community or in with us, and you showing up actually makes a difference. It's how people see themselves is through your eyes.
Yes.
So it is, please, you being at home on your death scrolling Facebook is going to lead you down a dark path really quickly, and you might get
comparison and jealousy and all these sorts of things,
and you'll get fake dopamine hits from little things that might trigger, and you'll get tricked into thinking you're living your life, but you're not. Your life is lived when you're out in the world, giving your gift, living your purpose, and really showing up for people so that they can see who they are through your eyes. It's one of the biggest gifts you can give.
Yes.
All right, number 2. This is going to surprise you. Well, this might, I think this...
number 2 is stress.
This is number 2, like dealing with your
stress
to manage stress.
Now, let me tell you about the 3 primary stresses, and there's a 4th little sneaky one that most people don't think about, okay? So, number 1 is our chemical environment. So that's the food we eat, the water we drink, the air we breathe, basically the TV we consume, the books we read, all of these sorts of things. But primarily it's the food, water, air, right? And so in this day and age, we are so much more toxic. Like, the food we have is filled with all this artificial stuff. People are, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, none of them had to deal with the toxic overload of what's in our food and in our water tables and things like that now. Just the Roundup that runoff from everyone's lawns and from agriculture is all in our water, and we're consuming it, and our bodies aren't designed to deal with that level of toxicity.
Right.
So just your food and your water, and then the air you breathe, especially if you are in a city, you're getting heavy metals that you're breathing in all the time, air pollution, all of these things. So it's not enough to just think that, oh, that's just life, and if I eat a salad here and there, I'll be okay. No, I'm sorry to tell you that doesn't work. You have to detox, and we're going to get into that later, because of the toxic overload of what we are dealing with in this day and age right now. So that's the number one. That's one of the stresses, right? And everyone's dealing with that, no matter who you are or where you are. Everyone's dealing with that.
That's right. Another stress people are dealing with is physical stress. So whether you were in a car accident or you have some injury,
sporting injuries,
some even the way we sit sometimes, like if you're hunched over, you're creating a physical kind of stress that will feel emotional because just based on the way you're sitting. So physical stressors, and finding ways to handle these and to to reduce the effects of these stressors will give you a much more longer quality of life. So that's number 2, physical stress. What else? Car accidents.
Yeah, that's we said it. Sporting industry injuries, just those sorts of things. Okay, so that's like you deal with, and it's something you need to deal with. People have them, and then they just keep going as if nothing happens. You have to deal with that.
You have to find ways to manage these stresses.
Yeah, and get your body back into alignment. So that's another thing we go deeper into for another day. All right, number 3, which is the big one. I believe that's the one that's dealt with the least, is your emotional stress. Right? So death of a loved one, some kind of childhood trauma.
Jerky job, boss at your job.
That's
like a co-worker that's just on you constantly. That's creating emotional stress.
And it could be as much as a teacher when you were young laughing at you or making you feel stupid. These things compound over time. And if you haven't dealt with them, which most people don't know how to deal with them, they become your life. And that stress, that's why people put on weight when I'm doing all the right things, but I just keep putting on weight because they haven't dealt with their emotional stress.
Right.
And especially, we're all going to have bad things happen. Like, that's life.
That's right.
Right? So you're going to lose everyone you love, whether you die or they die. You're going to have breakups. You're going to have setbacks. All of these, no one's getting out of any of it alive, right? So having tools to manage emotional stressors and to move them through your body and release them is just vital, because those undealt with become diseased. Every single disease that everyone has ever heard of in their lifetime all comes from these core stresses. Now we have one extra, which is another new one that we deal with this day and age.
Yes, and it's electromagnetic stress. So it's your cell phone stress, which could go under chemical, but it's your constantly being smashed with satellite signals, the Wi-Fi routers in your home. These actually really, really affect the electrical system is in your body. So a simple thing you can do is go barefoot outside and ground for a few minutes. If you're in freezing -30, you can buy a grounding mat for $29 that you plug into the ground in the wall, and you stand on it, and it'll pull out some of the inflammation. And these, it's no doubt, like the amount of, back in the day, there was maybe radio waves going for people to hear radio, and then TV waves, and then satellites, and then there's all these invisible frequencies. Our bodies are a vibration, and we're so affected by different frequencies. And like you'll meet someone who's a super positive person. They have a really high vibration of energy, and you meet someone who is super Debbie Downer. They have this denser energy, and everyone's pulling you in different directions. Well, the things in your house that you're being smashed with constantly are affecting. They're creating stress in your body, and they will affect the quality of how you age. So they're important to know how to manage these, and there's simple things you can do in your house, which we go into depth in our program and give you guys a few things you can do in your house to mitigate the EMF, the electromagnetic frequencies.
The impact of that, yeah. And there's, there are, if you look throughout history, every time we've had a technological advance in electromagnetic fields, right, which is, all of these things we can't see. Oh, we turn on the TV, it works. We turn on the radio, it works. But we don't know how, right? So so whenever we've had an advancement, like we went from 4G to 5G and all these sorts of things, a huge pandemic, per se, of sickness has come across the world. So it's something to look at, right? It means our bodies have to recalibrate and organize themselves against this extra vibration, against this new attack. And our bodies do, we do, we're extraordinary that way. They will calibrate, but you have to support them as well as they're calibrating and dealing with these extra stresses. And the last, 5G did get introduced just before the pandemic hit. And so it's like you have to look at these things.
It may not have caused it, but it sure didn't help people. It lowers
the immune system.
It lowers your immune system, and it does makes you more vulnerable to certain, bacterial loads or viruses. So it's important to know how to set your home up so it's like a cocoon of the vibrations that you want that actually help your organs to regenerate, help you to sleep at night. And there are some cost-effective ways to do it. You could just turn your Wi-Fi router off at night, so you're not smashing. And you can give your neighbors a timer. And go to your neighbors and say, here's a garden timer. It's my gift to you for New Year's. Could you just turn off your Wi-Fi when you go to sleep and have it turn on when you wake up? And that'll kind of that helps.
And something really simple is always just sleeping with your phone either not in the room or on airplane.
Yeah.
You don't need to be contactable 24/7. You just don't. I know we all have excuses and reasons as to why, but that's not how we all lived.
Right.
And you can shift it back to that. You need to have a moment in time where you can rest and your body can relax. And we're going to go into why that's important for longevity soon.
Yeah, we got a lot to get through
here,
so
so
I want to give
ways to mitigate stress. Very simple.
Yeah.
Moments of reflection and silence. 100% important. People call it meditation. People call it silence.
Some people call it an Epsom salt bath. And when you do that, you're getting magnesium, which actually closes the calcium gate in your cell, and it also helps with the EMF smashing. So you could also take a magnesium. I work with a really amazing company that does this magnesium that has all 7.
Biooptimizes.
I'll share a link in wherever you're watching this. I'll share a link. It's also in my link tree. You want to have some form of magnesium to help close those calcium gates. So you could take an Epsom salt bath, or really good quality magnesium helps. That's another thing can buffer you from the electromagnetic smashing your cells. Because it does. It just the frequencies jar your cells open, and they can't close. So what magnesium helps the cells function and close properly, whereas a lot of those frequencies keep your cells a little bit open.
Yeah, then when they're permeable to disease and just zombie cells, and it's a whole thing,
not
right?
Functioning
So
properly,
they're not doing what they need to do for you to be in optimal health. So moments of quiet and reflection and breath work, right? These are 2 free things. Yet people don't make them a priority, but we have to. You have to. If you think about earlier times, the world was quieter. We didn't have phones going all the time. People were in nature a lot more, working land a lot more. We were healthier in a way, that way, because we were connected to the land. I have to turn this up because it's making my hair funny.
I like your hair. I thought your hair was looking smashing today.
It's like this is this birdie thing going.
I like it.
So we have to, breath work. And sometimes breathwork can be very triggering and you don't want to do it. But it's because it's just touching on emotions and bringing up things. It's also a wonderful way for weight loss, right? So releasing weight, doing regular breath work is going to help with that, because you're getting out the toxins that otherwise would sit in your body. So breath work and meditation are your key ways of stresses. And then one of the next major ways of moving stress through is movement, which is our next topic, right?
Yes, movement is one of our. So this is our third. We're trying. How are we going to get through 10 of these?
I don't know. We're getting too excited.
If you're just joining us, this is the elixir of youth, and we're sharing our 10 favorite ways to it really increase the quality of that last 10, 20, 30 years of your life, so that it's actually enjoyable in some place you want to be. I mean, a lot of people are terrified of the end of their life, that it's going to be pain, dementia, they're not going to know their name, they'll be poop in their bed, they're not going to have anybody coming to visit them. So I don't think there's anything more important than, if no matter what age you are, is doing the work now, that you can do some prevention and some preparing for this age of the end of your life, so you're not frail and you're not breaking your hip and you're not losing your mind. So you have cognitive strength and you have physical strength. But we'll get more into that too. So moving.
I just want to. Someone just sent this, and I think it's stunning. But silence is not the absence of something, but the presence of everything. That's a beautiful one. That's by Gordon Hempton.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, love that. So true.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Yes, that is. It's like learning to be more present. That's what we need from silence. That's what we get from silence.
So there's a few really surprising studies about movement. So just some of the studies say just 11 minutes, so like 11 minutes a day, can reduce your risk of dying by up to 22 to 30%. That's about 75 minutes a week of whatever it is. You could walk, you could get on a rebounder, you could ride a bike. That's just 11 minutes a day. You're reducing your risk of dying by up to 30%, as low as 22. What drug can say that does that?
Nothing.
Nothing. There's also
nothing.
There's also this. The effect of doing physical activity on a regular basis is astonishing. You could say exercise is both, I'm trying to read it, prevention. I'm going to read it here. Hold on. I wrote this down because it was really cool. You ready for this? New research published this week found that even short periods of exercise, 20 to 25 minutes a day, can make a major dent in the risk of death for those who sit for long stretches of time. The effect of doing physical activity on a regular basis is astonishing. You could say exercise is both preventative and medicine, like brushing your teeth for avoiding cavities, says Edward Sagely, PhD. He's the author of this study, and he's been studying this in Norway for like 50 years. So I wanted to share, there's some people like science, some people don't care. They like the story. And the understanding, many of you know that when you move your bodies, not only are you extending your life, but you're making the quality of your day, like how much nicer are you to be around when you're exercising regularly.
And something I say to our clients all the time is change your physiology, change your psychology, right? So if you're feeling depressed, anxious, struggling, like just get up and go for a walk, get up and get your heart rate up, you instantly change your psychology. There is no way around it. You will change your psychology. So if you are not motivated, if you are struggling, go and move your body.
That's right, just go.
It will shift everything.
That's right.
It will create inspiration.
Yes.
It gets everything moving. So the key is
even get you pooping.
Yes, the key is totally about movement. And sitting on the floor and getting up, and everyone thinks, I gotta do all this crazy training. No, you just have to do gardening, like lifting heavier things around the house and moving, like sitting on the floor and getting up, like keeping everything working as it's designed is the key. When you look at, there's a show at the moment called Blue Zones on Netflix, and it goes over a bunch of where people are living over 100, like a big density of people living over 100, and it's what they do. And so much, community is huge in there, but moving, like using our bodies as they're designed. So many people go, too old to do that, and then they just stop. And it's like, well, like this hurts, so I'm going to stop using it. I'm just going to try and use it less. And it's like, no, you need to get to the root cause of what's causing that pain or inflammation, and then work, like PT it, work through it so that you use it more until it's feeling good again. Keep all your joints oiled up and lubed up by using them. You don't stop because you're suddenly feeling old. No, let's go younger, right? Yeah. So movement is just crucial, and the simplest, walking, is like your key to longevity. Again, free. And it'll actually create inspiration and momentum. So you can't wait to be inspired. You go out and take some baby steps and some action, and then you will be inspired. So inspiration comes actually after you take action. You can't, if you sit around and wait, it's not going to come. You got to go. Take some action. Inspiration will grow, and your momentum will grow, and your confidence will grow. And you'll start to enjoy being you because you're moving, and it sounds like a Dr. Seuss. And you feel.
It sounds like a Dr. Seuss. You're you. You're out there. You're in the world.
Move it or lose it, basically, is it. Anyone that no longer can move or no longer can walk wish that they can. So don't abuse the fact that we have these amazing bodies that can move around. Like, use it. Yeah. Or you will lose it.
That's right.
The next one is grip strength.
Well, it's muscle. It's building muscle. Like muscle is the organ of longevity.
It really is.
And not a lot of people don't know muscle is an organ. And why muscle is the organ of longevity is if you are strong enough when you fall to catch yourself, you're not going to hurt yourself. And grip strength there is.
And just on that, before you go there, one of the biggest causes of death is falling
Yeah.
and breaking something, and then people just don't recover when they're older, right?
They don't get back up.
So
I mean, they get it back up.
yeah, but they just don't recover in the same way. So if you're able to catch yourself or grip onto something to hold yourself, that's gonna keep you younger longer. So, and then so many people, there's all these studies like, after 30, like, it's really hard, and it's like, okay, maybe it is, but like, if you just know what to do, there's ways in which to build muscle at any age. Doesn't matter if you're starting at 70, you can build muscle.
That's right.
And there's ways in which to do that. We go in depth in this in our program, because the biggest thing is longevity. One of our big core topics is longevity, and so we do a whole heap of detoxes and building all your muscles. So
that's right.
Understanding how to build muscle, there's a science to it, and then how to get there. It's not just like, lift weights or do this. There's an actual science.
There's a way to make sure you're providing enough amino acids, enough proteins for that your muscle can actually have protein synthesis, and you can build muscle. And as you get older, building muscle is one of the most powerful currencies you can have. It's a little harder as you get older to build muscle, but if you do know the right things to take, which is a lot more protein and also some amino acids, and knowing which ones to do and how to move. But it's so important if you want to improve the quality of your life, build some muscle. And there's a billion. We could show you some really cool ways to do it, but if you're lazy, just look on YouTube. Is like whatever age you're. Like, I'm 50, like, how does a 50-year-old stay shape? I'm 60, how does a 60-year-old lift weights, like build muscle safely? And it's an important thing to learn how to do it right. Don't just go and start lifting weights at the gym. Like, you should probably get a trainer, and you should probably learn how to do it with the right form and make sure your skeletal system is actually supporting you if you lift heavier. So but choose things that are going to make you stronger.
And so gardening and it's so easy to be like, I can't open the can. I do that sometimes. It's like,
you're pretty strong.
I am very strong, but it's easy to be like, someone else can do it. And muscle it out a little bit, like take things on that challenge you. And even just getting those little gripper things where you're like doing those exercises, they do great things. So if you're feeling like it's a little weak, just pick up some of those. They're very cheap, and then just while you're sitting watching, if you're watching interesting, amazing documentaries, not just Netflix, then sit there doing that. All right, let's continue on. Sleep. We're not going to go deep into this.
This is number 5. Number 5 is sleep. We harp on sleep a lot because your sleep is a magic drug. It's like exercise. If you get a good night's sleep, you feel like you just took a $1 million
release weight. your body regenerates. Your cells regenerate. It's
organs. Everything regenerates when you sleep, and your personality gets better.
Yes. So sleep is connected to everything. But we've gone over this in so many of our other wellness summits that we're not going to harp on this one. But getting 8 hours, 7 to 9 hours apparently is it, and getting sleep between the 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. mark that's where our body regenerates the most, and then calming everything down when the sun goes down, and depending on where you are, your bodies will be in the circadian, because I know some places don't get dark until 11 p.m. in the middle of summer, right? So just being in flow with what's going on in your environment is fine. So it doesn't have to be 7 in those places, or and when it's colder and darker and it gets dark earlier, then just calm it down earlier. Like, just go with the seasons.
That's right. And getting sunlight in your eyes first thing in the morning will help get your rhythms proper. So get outside, go for a walk, get some breath work and some yummy sun in your eyes before you, and that'll start to reset your hormones properly for getting a good night's sleep. We won't go deep. We could go deep on sleep. Oh, let's go deep on sleep. So number 6 is detoxing. And so
huge
for living long, because if you are able to get some of these toxins out of your bone marrow, out of your blood, out of your body, then your chances of some disease or some neurological disorders like dementia or MS or even cancer or ALS like my dad had, then you're going to dramatically reduce your chance of having some weird surprise thing happen later in your life. And these toxins hide in our bodies. Our bodies are amazing.
They hide in bone marrow. They hide in fat.
And
they
organs.
So especially with emotional stress, and the chemical stress, or even all three of them, right? If you don't deal with them, they will come out in some way. My own father, he died of asbestos poisoning of the lungs. He had a job in which they, his company, they lined things with asbestos, and so he was totally fine until he had a big emotional stressor happen in his life, and he got sick quick after. Oh, that wasn't meant to be an up thing. He got sick really quick after that, and it was just like that was all sitting in his body waiting, and all it needed was the trigger.
That was my dad too. My dad had a trigger too.
Yeah, he was lifting something far heavier than he should have been lifting, got a back injury, and that released all the toxins into his body. So it's like these things hide out in our body, and our body does a really good job of trying to keep them contained.
Body's amazing.
That's why sometimes people are putting on a lot of weight and can't figure out that your body's containing something that shouldn't be in there, right? And so when you create detox pathways and pull all these things out, you can then have these big stressors that happen, but it doesn't release all of the toxins and flood your system all at once. That's why people suddenly get these really scary things like cancer, MS, neurological disease, early onset dementia, or just regular dementia. They get them because there's a toxic overload in their body that they haven't dealt with, and then there's like the straw that broke the camel's back. One thing happens, and then boom, it's filled their body. So that's why we go on and on about detoxes. That's why in our big program we have 2 major detoxes in a year, because we're pulling everything out of your body so that you do not have to get those diagnoses. You're reversing time. You're getting things out, and you're helping your body do this so that you don't have to deal with these big scary things in your future.
Yeah, and you can also learn how to eat in a way that you're eating foods that are cleansing you and not clogging you. So in our year-long program, we have quite a focus on a lot of vegetables. We're definitely people can eat whatever their body requires them to eat, but there's having a vegetable forward, which is another key to longevity, is having almost all of the blue zones have a vegetable forward diet. They
eat meat as well, so it's not about that.
There are some vegetarian ones, but they definitely have a focus on getting high nutrition food in.
And that's because of the fiber, right? So you're pooping well, and you're doing all the things that you should be.
The fiber will help pull the toxins out, and just learning how to eat in a way that's cleansing you rather than clogging you. So you're detoxing all the time, and you're binding things all the time in certain smart ways. But then every change of season, you could be doing, I'll say, some form of detox. And you can choose something for yourself. You could choose something simple. You could choose something more complicated. But every change of season is a great time to focus on, say, an organ. And how do I support my liver? How do I support my bowel? How do I support my spleen? Or what can I do for my heart? And it's a really your body. It's a really beautiful thing, and we teach this, and we help people get a tenderness and a bit of a communication, and they turn up the volume of that inner guidance system.
Intuition with their body.
So their intuition, they start to know what foods are gonna poison them and what foods are gonna give them power.
And that's when your body starts. We teach this, that when your body starts giving you an indication, like pain or inflammation or these things, so many people are taught to, just pop a pill and make it go away, right? Yep. Pain meds. But your body's telling you something. And this is when you tune in and listen and give it what it needs. So many people pop a headache tablet, pain med, when really they're chronically dehydrated, and all it would take is to drink a ton of water, and then their body would no longer. But you pop a pill and it takes away the symptoms, and you're like, I'm fine, but you're not fine. You haven't dealt with the core issue. So something that's so important is really learning that inner guidance system of your body is telling you something, and how to move through that. And the other thing that we do, we've teamed up with one of the #1 functional medicine teams in America right now, to get your blood, 108 biomarkers of your blood work, because sometimes there's things happening behind the scenes that you're just not present to until suddenly you are. I want to give you an example of that is I had really elevated blood work at one point, and I had my functional medicine doctor was telling me I had probably had all these things that had, from exposure when I was a child or whatever, that could create, chronic fatigue syndrome and all these things. They're like, you must have a very strong mind because this is what should be happening to you. And I was like, no, I don't buy that. But what happened was we flew across to Italy, and I got really terrible pain. I thought, I must have been grinding or, holding like stress in my jaw while I was sleeping. And then what it was I had an abscess in my tooth. Right? And when we have an abscess, we often don't know. So my blood work was totally elevated and really high because my body was fighting a huge infection in my face, but you couldn't find it. You couldn't see it. Right? And so had that been COVID and I flew during that time, and here's this really aggressive virus coming at me when my body was already depleted of my little supercells that were fighting it because they'd been fighting this huge infection in my face. I could have been one of those people where they're like, they were perfectly healthy and they just died. And I was like, no, because your body is dealing with an overload of, all the little fighting immune system is exhausted. It's like a war that's been waging for years. Right. Everyone's exhausted. They don't have the yeah, we're going to fight, we're going to win. Like, everyone's like, how long is this going for? We're tired, we're depleted, we don't have it anymore, right? And so that's what your immune system does, and it can be something that you're just not aware of. And that's why when you get the 108 biomarkers of blood, you can become present to something that's in the background that you don't know about that can create really major issues for you moving forward if you don't get present. And most people don't get present to really what's going on in their body until they come against something really scary. And that's when they're like, oh, now I'll change. And it's like, well, it's already a little yes, you can, but sometimes it's too late, especially if you suddenly have stage 4 cancer or something, to suddenly start doing all of these things then is a problem. So really understanding what is going on in your whole system of your body and how to navigate those from a place of prevention and reversing it rather than reacting to the big disease. That's where you want to be. That's how you live a really powerful, beautiful life. It's knowledge. It's understanding your bio-individual needs, what's going on with your body right now, not when you're sick.
And you get blood tests. When did you say that when I was gone by chance?
Yes, that's what I just talked about.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So you get some actually understanding what's happening in your body so that you can adjust it from a place of wellness, not sickness. Did you say that?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on. The next one here is sugar. And what sugar can create in your body, and we don't have to spend a lot of time here because you all know.
And we've spoken about it in our other wellness.
Just how incredible your body reacts to sugar. It can age your skin. It'll age your organs. It'll make you feel like a dumpster dive. I mean, how many of you over Christmas or New Year's
felt tired and lethargic all the time?
And just it actually affects the way you think. When it is a serious toxin and a serious poison. So eliminating the highly processed white cane sugar that's just about in everything. And so we train
and
people.
High corn fructose syrup, like any syrup of any sort, just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Maple syrup is okay. But
Yeah.
like any
So-
of the, vanilla syrups and this
Yeah,
syrups.
You go to
it's just-
Starbucks and have 600 calories in a few pumps. So
Oh.
the big thing is understanding your insulin and how it affects your blood sugar in
Mm-hmm.
relationship to longevity, and having a really good quality and a health span is if you can find ways to have natural sugars, which are in fruits or in vegetables, and completely cut out the processed crap. The quality of your thoughts, like the quality of your energy, your life, your sex life, your sleep, everything is going to improve dramatically. So it's a really big lever to pull in longevity. And you all know sugar, especially processed sugar, and what it'll do to you.
Yeah, and it's in everything. So you have to guard your body like the temple
It's
that
in
it
your
is.
bread. It's like the fifth
the
ingredient
milk,
in most breads.
It's everything.
Yeah.
It's in everything. So you really have to look at it, not just like, oh, I don't put sugar in my tea anymore. It's like, no, you actually have to look at it from every single
It's
thing
sneaky.
that you
It
consume.
hides in everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So
All right, we're wrapping this up.
Yes.
We're almost at
almost
a
it.
few
Number
minutes
8.
late.
This is a good one. Fun and play.
Yes.
Woo-hoo!
So being insignificant about the things in life. So, bringing a sense of playfulness to the circumstances and not being a victim to your circumstance, right?
Totally.
So no matter what happens, you don't have to be a complainer or a whiner. You can make a choice to have a little bit of playfulness when things happen, because things are going to happen.
They are. Like last night, we were flying back from Orlando. We were over there shooting a TV series about our company. So we were just about to board the plane, right on time, and boom, they close it down. They're like, tornado coming, right? And so it goes back. Now we have a small child, and so some people would be really overwhelmed and stressed about that because everything's going to be thrown out. But we're like, okay, let's just go with it. And then it kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. So we actually, when we got home, was actually 6:30 a.m. of the time zone that we came from, right? So we just missed an entire night of sleep, pretty much, And here we have a child, and then he, wide awake at 3 a.m. in the morning, and it's a whole thing. But instead of being dramatic and being totally thrown out by it, and then
or surprised,
and then
like,
screaming at
surprised that it should
people
be
that's like, this just is what it is, right? We went we were running around the airport. We were like, because we don't do screens or anything like that with our child, so instead, we were creating adventures. We were running around the Christmas tree, and we were doing all these things, and I could just see us interacting with our son in that way just lit everyone up around us. People got off their devices to look and watch and see the joy that was happening, and they started chatting and connecting, because it was like, people don't do things like that anymore. I always see at airports everyone and their children like this on screens, and I was like, how much of life are we missing? How much connection with our children are we missing? Because we're blogging out on a device. When instead we could be creating a memory. It's can take a bit more energy and effort for sure, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it to have these quirky memories and these moments of connection, when instead of just sitting on a device, so get up and connect and be playful in the face of adversity.
And I guarantee you there's folks in Kiev or in Ukraine that they're in a big time war, and their cities have been completely, a lot of them really destroyed. And I guarantee you there are large swaths of people that have chosen to be like, I'm just going to find a way to enjoy. I'm going to bake my bread. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to paint my paintings. I'm going to interact with my family. I'm going to seize the day and the moment rather than wish things were different. Mm-hmm. And that's suffering. Things are how they are. Mm-hmm. And then if you only want them different, you're going to create a lot of suffering and a lot of friction in your body, rather than just being like, all right, this is what's happening. I'm going to choose it. Mm-hmm. And in choosing it, you actually get all your power back. Mm-hmm. But if you're trying to fix it or change it or just get through it and be like, oh, I can't wait till this is over, you're a victim mindset, and you have zero power.
Yeah. and you're wanting to blame, like a flight hostess, wanting to blame everyone else for your issues, don't do that. It doesn't help anything.
Right.
It doesn't create any joy or love or connection or fun for anyone. And everyone's just like, ooh, stay away from them. So just, how can you find the light on the play in a situation, any situation that's not great, right? And that is the only thing you can control in this life. You might think you can control all sorts of things. It's an illusion. All you can control is how you react to whatever situation is put in front of you.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right.
All right.
We could go on forever about that one. I love that one. Really lights me up.
Mm-hmm.
That one lights me up.
Yeah,
for sure. Okay.
All right, Pat. Number 9. Visualization.
So creating a vision of how you're going to age. Like I remember at a Tony Robbins event where he had you imagine a bodybuilder, an old person on stage in their 90s and imagine, had everyone, 5,000 people close their eyes. And when we opened our eyes, there was a person in like a Speedo, and he was in his, I think, late 80s, a man, was just a bodybuilder, like lots of muscle, tanned, in great shape. And then he was like, how many of you imagine that guy? And everyone, a lot of you have an image of how you're gonna age and you will become that image. So be careful. Don't see yourself in an old folks' home or watching freaking TV. Like, don't do that. Like, what image of yourself do you want to create? I think people should be obsessed with that last part of their life. And Peter Thiel has this really great video that I've watched many times, and he talks about that where he feels people should be obsessed with is that 10 years, that last 10 years, the marginal phase, that decade, and that a lot of people, and making sure that in that marginal decade that you're not frail cognitively or physically. Mm-hmm. And like, as how many of you I'd rather die swimming in an ocean at 90, and he talks about this, of a heart attack than 120 with not knowing who I am in some old folks home, machines, nobody visiting me, so what? So visual, like really creating, making sure now that you're not going to be really, really frail in that last 10 years of your life, or that marginal decade. That very many people just like, give me medications to get out of pain so I can get through the day. That ain't going to do it, y'all. Like that'll get you into an island of a really brutal last little window of your aging, of your life.
And then you'll be taking all the other medications to deal with all the side effects. There's no freedom in that. It might feel like a quick fix, but there ain't no freedom. So that's why so many of the people that work with us end up getting off of all of their medications, because our bodies know what to do. We have to just set it up in a really powerful way. You have to do it safely too. So that's something that all of our people do, and feel more life and more energy and vitality than they've ever felt in their life. Actually, we have a thing called 40 Days for You, and visualization was today. So that's another thing that we offer is 40 days of an action you can take to really enhance your life in some way. That's a free program. And it's a free program. It's on our Instagram, social media. That you can follow each day and really take on. And you can also sign up and get emails, like a daily email, so that you can track it for yourself.
That's right. There's also life enhancers.
And there's life enhancers. So if you're like, how do I keep up with all of this, or like keep it in my memory? If you join our life enhancers with Kate and Paul, we send it out every Saturday morning. And it's like a little tip, a little something to really take action and enhance your life in some way, or some knowledge, or really awesome, cool, juicy, yummy things, right?
Juicy and yummy.
And so the step-by-step of the 9 steps are in those life enhancers. So pop onto our website and sign up for that, and you'll just get a little life enhancer every Saturday to keep your life being awesome. All right.
Finally, drum roll, please. So that's visualizing, and the vision that whatever you see for yourself, you're going to create that. So be really specific about the vision that you're seeing yourself as you age. So important. And I also follow a lot of people that
have transformed themselves much later in life, and they're like full muscly, and they're doing bodybuilding competitions, and they look extraordinary and exquisite when they were maybe frumpy and just never had health as a part of their goal. So it's really important to follow people that have done it, so you can see what's possible for you as well, and inspiring. Number 10, discover your passion and live your purpose every day. So many people just get through life. They do work and they live to retire. And
they think that's who they are, is the doing work.
Yeah.
That's not. You having a strong why to live, actually, a lot of people live work just so that they can live, and it shouldn't be a work-life balance. Mm-mm. You should be living your life with passion and purpose, and find a way to make a living from that. If you truly want to be happy, if you're just going to be like, no, I'm going to put in my 40 years and then I'm going to retire, and at that little bit there, then I'm going to travel, and you get to margaritas on the beach is boring after day 5. And some of you might be like, easy for you to say you're an actor, or I'm doing this now as a coach as well, or I'm a singer. I found a way to do 3 things that I really, really enjoy, and have a business built around all 3 of them. Mm-hmm. And it's whatever lights you up, you want to wake up in the morning and do that. You don't want to live a someday life with no passion, no purpose, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. That you'll have the same blueprint of how you do your job. You'll bring it into your relationship. You'll raise your kids that way. Mm-hmm. And it's there's a lot at stake. And I know I'm going to get some people in the comments are going to be like, yeah, easy for you to say you have la la la, but I created this, you guys, 30 years ago. And I've worked at McDonald's, I've worked at Arby's, I've worked at 27 restaurants. And, I made the best of it, and I loved serving people and being with people. But then I really wanted to do what I wanted to do and really enjoy it. So I wasn't living a life as a means to an end. Mm-hmm.
And something I love about you is Paul enjoys every moment. There was a beautiful example yesterday. We were trying to squeeze in this. It was a little zoo on our way to the airport, right? And we left not enough time really. And so I'm one of those people. I'm trying to zip through so we can see all the animals. Oh, come on. And Paul's just do. And then he even stopped at one point and started stretching when we were really on the clock to see it. And I'm like, what are you doing? But he just our whole that's the comedy of our relationship is I'm always in the future and go and he's just in the moment smelling the roses. Right. And so I'm always rushing 10 steps ahead of him, and he's like, what are you doing up there?
That's true. But you're expanding the future for us, and I'm expanding the moment. And I think it works. I bring you to the moment, you bring me to the future. And sometimes we resist each other, and other times it's just like a slip and slide. It's a mix.
It's just it's so beautiful to be in the present. And to really enjoy, make an enjoyment out of every, Paul doesn't just get food and just shove it in and go. He makes it, special. There's nothing that he does that's not done with some reverence. It's easy to get caught up in the world and just go. And you think, at some point, when I get to this point, then I'll do that. Then I'll do this. And, we don't know how much time we have on this world. And most people's regrets are the things that they didn't take time for, they didn't do, they didn't connect. Yeah. So really, and in this day and age with the internet, you can have the most obscure passion, obscure love, and you can make money from it.
You can, and there's many people out there that have already done it, so you can look up how they did it and model them and reach out to them, and there's no excuse now to just to work a job you freaking hate just so that you can have a little fun on the Saturday and blog out on a TV.
And that's why you need to numb out with drugs, alcohol, TV, because you're just not enjoying your life. It's not like, it's not inspiring for you. So you need to disrupt that and start taking time, even 15 minutes a day. We call it the 1% rule of doing something that lights you up, that inspires you, that makes you feel good.
Yes.
You deserve to feel good.
Yes.
So it's really like, figure out your passion and your purpose.
That's
and
right.
follow it.
That's right.
Follow it and see where you end up with that, because that's gonna it's gonna make your days filled with much more joy and lightness and love, rather than the heaviness of just, I have to do this. There's plenty of stuff in life we have to do.
Right.
But how you do those things, like, if you've got some levity with balancing with things you love, then those have to do's don't become so hard.
That's true, and we get so caught up in the do's and like in the hows rather than the why. So if you, in a part of finding your living and discovering and creating your purpose and your passion, is getting a strong why as to why you're doing something. And if you're just going to work as a why to like then eat, like maybe there's a way that you could like shift that to do something to change your why. And we're like, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? It's like, no, why are you going to do that? And the why is like this big engine that powers life.
It's everything.
And the hows are like little to-do lists, and you just like, how, let me do, and it's like, no, you get to be, and you get to understand your why and operate from that foundation. Then you're actually living a life, rather than just being a little factory, like to do. I'm going to do this, and thinking that's who you are. It's not who you are.
No. So it's easy to talk about these things for us because we live them. But if you're like, I kind of know some of these things, but I just never do it. I never like stand by my New Year's resolutions. Like, I've already fallen off the track. I do this, I do that. We all need support. We need help. We need, us personally, we need coaches.
We have coaches
so
too.
Like, our lives go much bigger when we have coaches. We need reflection. So if you are someone that you're like, I want to make 2024 just so freaking exquisite and exciting and adventurous and squeeze everything out of everything, and I want to get fit and healthy and fitter and thinner and all the things, right? If you want if you've thought for any reason that you're too old or it's too far or you can't do it, you're wrong. There's never a better time to start than right now. And if you need the extra support, we have 2 programs. One is like kind of a bit more chill, and it's more about community. The other one is very intensive. You want to fast track your life and you want to reverse age or reverse disease in 1 year, then that's the one. So get in contact with us, take action today. Click on the link. It's popping up around if you're live. Otherwise, click on the link below to really get in contact with us to say what's the best way for me to just navigate this and to step into my life really powerfully and just to own everything. How do I become 20 years younger? It's possible. It is possible. So it's like, and it's just what you do right now in this moment when you're feeling inspired that makes all the difference. So don't walk, run. I get in contact. This is what we do. We have a thirst and a passion for doing this for people. That's right. What we do. And we created this beautiful program that has all the bells and whistles that so that you can have all of this in a short year of your life. And
this is week 7, so we've been sharing with you just a little bit of a window into what we take people through on our year-long journey. We do a deep dive into these, and it's a big part of, there's so much conflicting information out there, and to have somebody who helps you organize it and takes you through it in an actual strategic way, and then you get the blueprint. So you spend a year with us. Our promise is 10 to 20 years of health span back at the end of your life. And we do weekly coaching live, as well as 2 blood tests, and you get in touch with our functional medicine doctor teams, as well as
2 detoxes,
2 big detoxes at different times in the year. And so if you're watching this later on a replay, there will be a link down below to hop. There will be a free gift we want to send you. But if this is speaking to you, just get on a call with one of our teams or with one of us. For now, we're still doing the calls, and we can see if this is a good fit, and we can help you get to where you want to get to in this conversation, because a lot of people are just living life from like as a living their life on a bit of a groundhog's loop, and they're in the passenger seat of the life. And if you're watching this and you want to get in the driver's seat and actually start living this life that you love and by your design rather than what everybody else thinks you should be doing, then get in touch with there'll be a link right there, and we can check and see if this is a good fit, and get you to this life, live a life that you truly love.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and Paul is a functional nutrition coach. I am a strategic intervention coach with my master's in neurolinguistic programming. So we've been doing this for the past half decade. So we have tons of experience on so many unique issues that people are dealing with, and it all stems from those three stresses. So we just have to isolate which ones that you're dealing with and what level of toxic overload you're dealing with in those, and then go from there. So,
and Kate also has her NLP master's in NLP, and she's a Tony Robbins coach.
I said that.
Yeah, but what makes that so like special is the emotional side to this. There is your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that affects the biochemical side, and they actually really bounce back and forth. So you could be you definitely need all of these pillars working and functioning together, and having the relationship side. So there's 3 parts to our program: is the physical stuff, which I deal with. Kate does a lot of the mental fitness, and I do the physical fitness, and then we have a relationship fitness. So like how
connection to self and others,
which is the community part. And so we'd love to meet you, and if no matter, some of you are going to be watching this 5 years after we've made it, so it's not too late. Kate and I, this is a bit of our life mission now. Like we have the testimonials and the excitement of watching people get their lives back and create a life they actually want to live has been
new careers,
it's
new
addicting.
relationships,
It keeps me wanting to do this.
Like totally, releasing an entire person. Maybe, a bunch of our people have lost over 120 pounds.
Did they lose it?
They released it. Sorry, good catch. We only say release because if you lose something, you find it.
Yeah.
So there's go onto our testimonial page, take a look there at like all the things that our people have overcome and are thriving now, and we would love to help you as well. So get involved, make a choice, and there's a really cheap and easy program and a much more intensive program, so you have choices, but just get into this community. It'll save your life. Really will.
All right,
okay, we love
that's
you.
the end of our Power to Change
Wellness Summit.
7-week Wellness Summit. I hope you've enjoyed it. Can you do us a big favor and subscribe to whatever channel you're watching?
Yeah,
and
our
please
YouTube channel. Share it.
Share this message with somebody who might benefit from it, and take action. This isn't a video game or a movie. Take action on the things that we shared with you, or reach out to us if you need some support. We'd love to be there for you.
Yeah.
Okay. See you later. Bye,
Big
everybody.
love. Bye.
Bye.